Please repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Do the pranam mantra or the Mangalacharan prayers all together. Om Ajnanatimidandasya
Ajnanatimidandasya Hetunānena
Chakshurunmilitam
Chakshurunmilitam
Tasmai
Yena
Shri Gurave
Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah.
Shri
Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam
Sthapitam
स्थापितं
Yena
येन भूतले
Swayam
स्वयं
Rupa
रूपा कदा
Kadamyam
मह्यं
Dadati
ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्
Vandeham
वन्देऽहं
Shri Guru
श्रीगुरो
Shri Yuta
श्रीयुतपदकमलं
Shri Gurun
श्रीगुरुवैष्णवांश्च
Vaishnavanscha Shri
रूपं
Rupam
साग्रजातं
Sagrajatam Sahagana
सगणरघुनाथान्वितं
Raghunathanvitam Tam
तं सजीवं
Sajivam
साद्वैतं
Savadhutam
सावधूतं
Parijana Sahitam
परिजनसहितं
Krishna Chaitanya Devam
कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं
Shri Radha
श्रीराधा
Krishna Pada
कृष्णपादां सहिता
Lalita Shri Vishakha
श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च
He
हे
Krishna Karuna
कृष्णकरुणा सिन्धो
Sindhu Dinabandhu
दीनबन्धो
Jagatpate
जगत्पते
Gopesha
गोपेश
Gopika Kanta
गोपिकान्त
Radha Kanta
राधाकान्त
Namostute
नमोऽस्तुते
Tapta
तप्त काञ्चन
Gaurangi
गौराङ्गी
Radhe
राधे
Vrindavaneshwari
वृन्दावनेश्वरी
Vrishabhanusute
वृषभानुसुते
Devi
देवी
Pranamami
प्रणमामि
Hari
हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च
Kripa
कृपा सिन्धुभ्य
Sindhubhyo
एव च
Patitanam
पतितानां पावनेभ्यो
Vaishnavebhyo Namo
वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः
Namah
नमः
Om
ॐ
Vishnupadaya
विष्णुपादाय
Krishna Prestaya
कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले
Bhutale
श्रीमते
Bhakti
भक्तिवेदान्त
Vedanta Swami Iti
स्वामीनिति
Namine
नामिने नमस्ते
Namaste
सारस्वते देवे
Saraswate
गौरवाणी
Gauravani
प्रचारिणे
Pracharine
निर्विशेष
Nirvishesha
शून्यवादी
Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine
पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे
Jaya
जय
Shri
श्री
Krishna
कृष्ण चैतन्य
Chaitanya Prabhu
प्रभु
Nityananda
नित्यानंद
Shri
श्री
Advaita
अद्वैत
Gadadhara
गदाधर श्रीवास
Srivasadi
आदि
Gaura
गौर भक्त
Bhakta
वृंद
Vrinda Hare
हरे
Krishna Hare
कृष्णा
Krishna
कृष्ण
Krishna
कृष्ण
Krishna
हरे
Hare
हरे
Hare Hare
हरे राम
Rama
हरे
Hare
राम
Rama Rama
राम राम
Rama
हरे
Hare
हरे
Hare Shri Krishna Bhagavan ki Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki Jai. So Hare Krishna everyone. Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Raish Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
See you. So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita and we are in the chapter 9, the most confidential knowledge, or the in Sanskrit the title of chapter is Rajaguhya Rajaguhya Yoga. And in last couple of weeks we are discussing about how Lord is all pervading and how everything is his energy. So from fourth, which are little bit where he says some contradictory statements, but we understand that because he's not part of this world, he's not part of this creation, but rather he is the creator. So he is outside this world, but at the same time he is inside, but not the way we understand he is inside, not like us. So that's why he says that by me in my unmanifested form this entire universe is pervaded as energy. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. When he says I am not in them in his energy form as Paramatma, or he is there, but he himself, because people may think that oh, he is just like us there, so he is not in there, and that's his opulence. So he says that Yet everything that is created does not rest in me. Behold my mystic opulence. And although I am the maintainer of all living entities and I am everywhere, I am not part of this creation. I am not part of this cosmic manifestation. But he is the very source of this whole creation. And he gives an example so that we can understand, just as the mighty wind blowing everywhere rests in the space, so all created beings rest in me. And they are annihilated. So at the end of millennium, and when we call millennium, there are different ways. So at the end of Brahma's one day, everything is annihilated. And it enters in his nature. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a description how everything, all the universes go and living entities go in dormant state and enter into the body of Mahavishnu, who is in the causal ocean or Karana ocean. And at the beginning of another millennium, by his potency, everything is created again by and everything is created, but the living entities do not have control on this. They are forced to get annihilated and created again and again. So it is automatically manifested again and again, and under my will, it is annihilated at the end. So everything is done by Lord Krishna or by his will. But even though then somebody may think, oh, he's working very hard then. He has so much work to do. But he says, no, even though everything is happening, this work, what he is doing is he doesn't have to work really hard for this. And even though he's working, it is not that just like living entities, they are bound by karma. He's also bound by karma. No, he's udasina of everything. Udasinavad dasinam nasaktam teshu karmasu. So any karma, what he is doing is not binding him, and he is detached ever, always. He's ever detached from all the material activities as a neutral person. And today we are going to read the verse 10, which is many times quoted by Srila Prabhupada. So let's read this verse, and this is you probably if you listen to Prabhupada's lectures, you will hear this verse many times in many references. So let's recite this, and we'll read the translation and purport. mayādhyakṣeṇa prakṛtiḥ
mayādhyakṣeṇa prakṛtiḥ
sūyate sa-carācaram
sūyate sa-carācaram
hetunānena kaunteya
hetunānena kaunteya
jagad viparivartate
jagad viparivartate
mayādhyakṣeṇa prakṛtiḥ
mayādhyakṣeṇa prakṛtiḥ
sūyate sa-carācaram
sūyate sa-carācaram
hetunānena kaunteya
hetunānena kaunteya
jagad viparivartate.
जगद विपरिवर्तते. प्रभूजी तुम्ही म्यूट केले बहुतेक सगळ्यांचे, त्याच्यामुळे कोणाचाच आवाज येत नाही.
मध्ये डिस्ट्रॅक्शन होत होतं म्हणून मी काहीतरी
राईट. बट आय एम नॉट गेटिंग एनीवन्स व्हॉइस नो, सो
बट यू कॅन अनम्यूट युअरसेल्फ ऑलवेज. या मध्ये काहीतरी डिस्टर्बन्स वाटला मला म्हणून मी म्यूट केलं होतं. बट थँक्यू. सो चंद्रकांत प्रभू, व्हाय डोंट यू गो अहेड अँड लीड दिस?
ओके. mayādhyakṣeṇa prakṛtiḥ
mayādhyakṣeṇa prakṛtiḥ
sūyate sa-carācaram
sūyate sa-carācaram
hetunānena kaunteya jagad viparivartate.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Madhu Prabhu.
Prabhu.
Yeah.
mayādhyakṣeṇa prakṛtiḥ
mayādhyakṣeṇa prakṛtiḥ
sūyate sa-carācaram
Sūyate sa-carācaram
hetunānena kaunteya
hetunānena kaunteya
jagad viparivartate.
jagad viparivartate.
Thank you, Prabhu. So let's read the translation word for word meaning. Maya means his, and again, this verse Krishna is telling Arjuna. So Maya means by me, by Krishna. Adhyakṣeṇa, under or by superintendence. अध्यक्षता म्हणतो ना आपण, एखाद्याच्या अध्यक्षतेखाली काम होत आहे कुठलं तरी. So this is how he's saying, मया अध्यक्षेण, by my superintendence, prakrti, this material nature, sūyate, it manifests, it's come into being, it works. Sa, both, chara, achara, so moving and non-moving. Hetuna means for a reason, for a hetu. Anena means this. Kaunteya, so he's referring to Arjuna here, O son of Kuntī. Jagad means this cosmic manifestation, this whole universe, or there are all multiple universes, whole creation. Viparivartate is working. Translation: this material nature, which is one of my energies, is working under my direction, O son of Kuntī, producing all moving and non-moving beings. Under its rule, this manifestation is created and annihilated again and again. So he's clearly stating his supremacy, that this whole creation, many times we have a question, how is this world working, or what is happening? This natural phenomena, what we are seeing around us, that sun is rising every day, setting every night, the seasons are happening, trees grow perfectly, and everything is working so perfectly well here. So how is this whole thing, prakrti or nature, working so perfectly? So here Krishna is himself claiming that this world or prakrti is working under my direction. mayādhyakṣeṇa, prakrti, and everything is coming into being. Sūyate, sa, both chara and achara. In all the living entities, they are created by me, the moving and non-moving. Moving are basically all the animals, reptiles, aquatics, everything, human beings. And non-moving are trees, plants, and so on, so forth. All the vanaspatis or botanical living entities. So all of them, they are coming into being by my direction in this material nature. And under its rule, this manifestation is created and annihilated. Viparivartate. It is created and annihilated. It is going through that cyclical change again and again and again and again. And this cycle is happening in all the different small or bigger ways. The seasons have cycle, the yugas have cycle, the creation itself has cycle. And the living entities are also going through the Shadvikaras we discussed last time, that all the living entities in this material world, they go through these 6 transformations, or Shadvikar, what we call. They take birth, then they grow, that is the second, then they stay for some time, they create some byproducts, then they start dwindling or decaying, and then they die or vanish. So these 6 transformations, all the living entity, is irrespective, they are trees or animals or reptiles or insects or birds or human beings, irrespective what form of body they have, all of them are going through these 6 transformations. And Krishna is telling that they are going through these transformations. They are created and annihilated again and again by under my control, by my direction in this prakriti. So let's read the purport, and then we can explore this verse a little bit more detail. I think there is a lot to discuss about this, but let's read the purport and see what we can read from the purport.
it is clearly stated here. Titunas, no?
Yes.
It is clearly stated here that the Supreme Lord, although aloof from all the activities of the material world, remains the Supreme Director. The Supreme Lord is the Supreme Will and the background of this material manifestation. But the management is being conducted by material nature. Krishna also states in BhagavadGita that of all the living entities in different forms and species, I am the Father. The Father gives seeds to the womb of the mother for the child, and similarly, the Supreme Lord, by his mere glance, injects all the living entities into the womb of material nature, and they come out in their different forms and species, according to their last desires and activities. All these living entities, although born under the glance of the Supreme Lord, take their different bodies according to their past deeds and desires. So the Lord is not directly attached to this material creation. He simply glances over material nature. Material nature is thus activated and everything is created immediately. Because he glances over material nature, there is undoubtedly activity on the part of the Supreme Lord. But he has nothing to do with the manifestation of the material world directly. The example is given in the Smriti. When there is a fragrant flower before someone, the fragrance is touched by the smelling power of the person. Yet, the smelling and the flower are detached from one another. There is a similar connection between the material world and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Actually, he has nothing to do with this material world, but he creates by his glance and ordains. In summary, material nature without the superintendence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead cannot do anything, yet the Supreme Personality is detached from all material activities.
Thank you so much, bro. Small purport, very powerful actually. Yeah.
Yes.
So everything Prabhupada explains, and he gives information about this verse such nicely that
Yes.
even though the Supreme Lord, Krishna himself is saying that mayādhyakṣeṇa prakrti sūyate sa-carācaram, that this whole creation, even I am detached. In previous few verses, he said that I am not part of it. I am detached. I am outside it. But still, through I am the one who is making this. He is causing this creation and annihilation. So that does not mean that he's working hard. No, he's just enjoying, or he's having his own pastimes, and the supreme material nature, the Prakrti is working, but she is not independent. Prakrti is not independent. So in the Brahma Samhita, in those prayers, there is very beautiful verse that Srishti Sthiti Pralaya Sadhana Shakti Rekha. Srishti Sthiti Pralaya. Srishti means creation, Sthiti means maintenance, Pralaya means annihilation. Srishti Sthiti Pralaya Sadhana Shakti Rekha Chayeva Yasya Bhuvanani Bibharti Durga. Ichhanurupamapi yasya sa cheshtate sa Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Brahmaji, when he's offering prayers, so he says that all this creation, maintenance, and annihilation is happening, Srishti, Sthiti, Pralaya, Sadhana, by your potency, Shakti, just one potency. He has unlimited potencies. Krishna's Shakti are unlimited, but one energy is maintaining this. And who is that? Chayeva, who is like a shadow, Chaya, Sauli. Chayeva yasya bhuvanani bibharti Durga. So in this creation, bhuvanani, all these material, different planetary systems, she is the one working Prakrti, and her name is, and she is also the controller appointed by Supreme Personality of Godhead, Durga. Her name is Durga, Shakti. Durga means fort, which is very difficult to get out. Durga also means Durga, difficult to get out of from. Ga means go, Dur means difficult. So it's very difficult to get out from this place because it is controlled by the superintendent who is called Durga. And she is controlling us with her weapons. If we see in her hand, we see a trishul or trident in her hand, right? So by trident, she's giving us the punishment according to our karma, what we have done in the past. And then at the same time, by giving those punishments, she's reminding us what Krishna already told us, dukkhalayam ashashvatam, that this is the place, actually not where one cannot attain happiness, but this is the place of miseries, and this is temporary. It is created and annihilated again and again. And the three miseries we already talked about few times. That trident represent the three miseries we are going through. So one is that is caused by ourselves, by our body and mind. So those type of miseries that in Shastra, that those are called adhyatmika, adhyatmika. Those are caused by my own self. I eat more, so next day I have stomachache or something. I have headache and all those stuffs, or I go through some headache or other things. So those are the pains caused by myself on my body. Then there are some sufferings that are caused by the other living entities, and they are called adi bhautik. So those are miseries that sometimes, even a simple example, even a mosquito, the other living entity, when we are trying to sleep nicely and we pray that, okay, I will get a good rest now because I'm tired, and the mosquito bites, forget about, even if it doesn't bite, but in our ear is always singing his own songs, and then we cannot sleep. Even that is miserable condition. And what to say about other, sometimes our friends, sometimes our relatives, sometimes our better halves or spouse or children, because of certain behavior, we feel some miserable conditions in our life. So those are miseries caused by the other living entities. Those are called adi bhautik. And there are some miseries that are caused by some supernatural power or daivi. So those are called adi daivik. Just like some natural disaster like tsunami, earthquake, or forest fire, which we experience all the time, every year almost in California here. Or famine, or flooding, all these natural disasters, which are not controlled by any living entity in this material world, but these are called controlled by superhuman powers or Daivi Shakti, what we call. So those are called Adi Daivi, but we still suffer. So those are the Trishul or the trident of Durga Devi represents those three types of miseries by which she is giving us punishment that is due to us, and also reminding us that we should try to find permanent solution for this and get out of this material world. So this material world is controlled by that Durga, Srishti Sthiti Pralaya Sadhana Shakti Rekha Chhaye Vayasya Bhuvanani Bibarti Durga. But is she independent? No. Ichhanurupam api yasya cheshtate sa. She is working by yasya ichha. Ichha anurupa. Yasya. Who is that Yasya? Who is he referring to? Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Hey Govinda, O Adi Purush, to you I worship. By your will, this Durga, which is like your shadow, is working and controlling this creation, maintenance, and annihilation, and she is helping all the three devatas who are in the mode who are the guna avatara of you in this material world, Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesh. She is helping them in their creation, maintenance, and annihilation. Sadhana Shakti. So that Prakriti we are talking about, and that Prakriti, Krishna is saying that again here also, mayādhyakṣeṇa prakrti sūyate sa-carācaram. So she is working under my superintendence, my direction. And so it may seem that she is working independently, but in the background, he is the one directing it. And that's why it is said that not even a blade of grass moves without the will of the Supreme Lord. So everything happening, even a minutest thing happening in this world is actually happening under his direction. And so he says further that chara and achara. So they are also being created. How are they created every time? Based on whatever they had left off in the past life, they continue. They are given particular type of body in this material world, and they continue based on their balance results of karma, what they have acquired in the past activities, and then they continue their journey forward. And based on however they perform now, so based on the past karma plus current karma they are accumulating, that determines their next lives, where they are going to go. So they are continuously rotating in these 14 planetary systems. But prominently, it is said that people who are in prominently Rajogun, they go in the Bhu Bhuvarsva, 3 lokas mostly. So by doing some pious activities, they attain Swarga Loka. By finishing those Swarga pious activities, they come back again to Bhu Loka, and so on and so forth. So they continuously go between these. Then the jnanis or tapasvis or brahmacharis who are a little bit austere, and they realize that, oh, I am just this karma, I want to go beyond this, and they engage in tapasya, or they engage in acquiring knowledge. So they go higher in those in the higher planetary systems, and they keep going in the higher planetary systems are called Jana Loka, Tapa Loka, Mahar Loka, and ultimately Satya Loka or Brahma Loka, where Brahmaji lives on the top of that. So they are still in this material world, but they are little bit elevated down, those people. And people who are very abominable, they are following Vedic rules and regulations just for enjoyment, they go to the lower planetary systems. The Tal, Atal, Vital, Sutal, Patal, Rasatal. There are seven lower planetary systems out of 14. So they are also traveling here. So we are continuously going up and down, up and down, up and down, just like a giant Ferris wheel. So if we do some pious activity, we go up. When we finish pious activity, come down again. If we do some impious activity or papa, then we go to Narakaloka, where we are given some punishment and then come back again. Brahma Bhuvana Loka Punaravartino Arjuna. From Brahma Loka to Patal Loka, Rasatal, everywhere Punaravartino Arjuna. We are taking birth and dying again and again. And how is this happening? Krishna says that they are all happening because of me. So he is the seed-giving father. In the 14th chapter, we'll read where he says that Sarva Yonishu Kaunteya, irrespective what type of body you have, or the animal or anybody has, the living entity, Sarva Yoni. Sarva Yonishu Kaunteya Murtaya Sambhavantiya Tasam Brahma Mahad Yonir Aham Bija Pradapita. They exist in this material world by getting birth, and I am the seed giving father who injects these all seeds in the prakriti, and that's what he's saying. So I am the father gives seed in the womb of a mother for a child, and then simply in the same way the Supreme Lord, simply by a glance, he just glances over the material nature and everything is injected. All these living entities are injected and they get birth. So because we may ask him, how can he do that? Because from our perspective, to give a birth to a father, a union between a man and a woman, or female and male, has to happen in the species of life here. But that is not the case, because he can perform any activity through any of his senses, because he is a spiritual being. Now, for seeing, I cannot see without my eyes. For hearing, I cannot hear without my ears. I cannot hear by my eyes, or I cannot hear by my nose, or I cannot hear through my hand, or I cannot see through my hand. But that is not the case. So his all senses can do all activities. And beyond that, Angani yassa sakalendriya vrittimanti pashyanti panti. I'm forgetting those lines. But he Angani yasya. Let's go to, that is from Brahma Samhita. I don't remember the verse number, but we can find out. Angani yasya sakalendriya vrittimanti pashyanti panti kalayanti chiram jaganti. Ananda chinmaya rasat pratibhavitavis govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. Here, 32nd verse. So here Brahmaji in his prayer says, Angani yasya sakalendriya vrittimanti pashyanti panti kalayanti chiram jaganti ananda chinmaya sadujvala vigrahasya govindamadi purusham tamam bhajami. So he is worshipping Govinda. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, whose transcendental form is full of bliss, truth, sustainability, substantiality, and is thus full of most dazzling splendor. Ananda Chinmaya Sad Ujvala Vigrahasya. His form is like this. And each of the limbs of that transcendental figure possesses in himself the full-fledged functions of all the organs.
प्रभुजी तुम्ही शेअर करताय का ते? कारण इथे ब्रह्मसंहिता टायटल वर पेज फ्रीज झालेले.
ओ मी फ्री शेअर करतो ना ब्रह्मसंहिता. फ्रीज झाले.
त्याच्यात I think you said 32nd, right, or something?
32nd verse. Do you see it?
No, we do see that text one only from Brahma Samhita.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that. मी अनशेअर करून परत शेअर करतो. I am on 32nd verse. Do you see it now?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for saying that. So here in Brahma Samhita, he is offering prayers. Angani yasa sakalendriya vrittimanti. So each of his limbs, anga, of the transcendental Lord, Supreme Lord, transcendental figure, possesses in himself the full-fledged functions of all other organs. So his hand can do function of his eyes can do function of ears and nose and everything. He can do everything. And eternally sees, maintains and manifests the infinite universes, both spiritual and mundane. And that's what Prabhupada mentions in this purport here. Oh, where did it go? 19. Yeah. That he can simply glance over this and everything is created immediately because he glances over the material nature. The undoubted activity is part of the person. Yeah. So just by glance also he can create and inject all these material energy. He doesn't have to work hard. So that's how all these material energies, but just by his glance, are injected and they are created. And that's how they get into this material world in the beginning. And he has nothing to do with this manifestation of the material world directly. And the example in the Smriti Prabhupada gives here, just like a fragrant flower is placed even in the corner of the room, that flower doesn't have to do anything special, but still its fragrance can be experienced in the room. And everybody will know that, oh, there is a beautiful flower and the fragrance can be experienced. In the same manner, even the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he's performing, he doesn't have to come to this material world for performing any creation or anything. Just by under his direction, everything happens under his will. So in summary, the material nature without superintendence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead cannot do anything, yet the Supreme Personality is detached from material activities. He doesn't engage in any of these material activities, and that's why he has nothing to do with, in the previous verse he said that udasinavat. So he is udasina from all these material activities that is happening, and the karma, even though he seems to be working, it doesn't bind him at all. So he is not bound by the karmic reactions like other living entities. So there are few more verses where from the Srimad Bhagavatam where Kapil Dev mentions. So I was reading, I think we saw this one of them last time. So if we read Chandrakant Prabhu, if you just want to read this translation from 40 to the last verse. So let's read what he says about the Supreme Lord.
Yeah. Out of fear of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the wind blows. Out of fear of him, the sun shines. Out of fear of him, the rain pours forth showers. and out of fear of him, the host of heavenly bodies shed their luster. Out of fear of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the trees, creepers, herbs, and seasonal plants and flowers blossom and fructify, each in its own season. Out of fear of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the rivers flow, and the ocean never overflows. Out of fear of him, only does fire burn, and does the earth, with its mountains, not sink in the water of the universe. Subject to the control of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the sky allows outer space to accommodate all the various planets which hold innumerable living entities. The total universal body expands with its 7 coverings under his supreme control. Out of fear of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the directing demigods in charge of the modes of material nature carry out the functions of creation, maintenance, and destruction. Everything animate and inanimate within this material world is under their control. The eternal time factor has no beginning and no end. It is the representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the maker of the criminal world. It brings about the end of the phenomenal world. It carries on the work of creation by bringing one individual into existence from another. And likewise, it dissolves the universe by destroying even the Lord of Death, Yamaraja.
That gives us perspective that everything is working under Krishna's will. Everyone in this material world, all the devatas, even Yamaraj, it said that it destroys the Yamaraj also at the end of the creation.
Yes.
Everything is dissolved at the end of creation. So I think I will stop talking here and we can get some reflections here. So any thoughts, Prabhujis? And this is directly told by Krishna himself in BhagavadGita and confirmed in other scriptures. And here also Kapil Dev, who is again incarnation of Krishna, he is also saying the same thing, that everything is working out of fear of the Lord, Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, yes, Prabhuji, any thoughts?
Rojika, is because of the fear of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, these things happen?
When it says fear, that is just like I work in office because of fear of my boss. So that kind of fear. Or a son takes care of, son accepts the orders from his father out of fear. So it's not fear means like a...
Bhiti in a way. Actually, respect for authority.
Respectful fear, yeah.
Okay,
Just like I'm afraid of my father, or I'm afraid of my boss, or I'm afraid of my manager. In the same manner, they are working under his... But if needed, he does correct them. So we see the pastimes, couple of pastimes, that Govardhan Leela. So when Indra was proud of his own thing, and he thought that, oh, I am the supreme, I am proud what this boy is doing. So to guide him, to show him example, so he does punish them, or he teaches them lesson. So he lifted Govardhan Hill for 7 days and 7 nights, and then Indra realized his fault. Oh, this is my boss here. What have I done? And then he came down and offered his mukut as his head. He brought surbi crows from heaven and then bathed him. Abhishek, he did Abhishek for Krishna, and he said, "My Lord, sorry, I did blunder." So that's what fear means.
Got it.
Yes.
Any more reflection?
No additional as such, because the explanation itself is there. I mean, it's all these potencies basically, right? It's not there, but it is because of it.
Yes. And he doesn't have to be present there.
Present there.
Yeah. He just like the owner, he doesn't have to go to factory. He might go. If he wants, he can go. If he doesn't want, he doesn't want to go. He can just make a call, and then everything will change in the factory.
Right.
Just by his call. Because everything, the manager, CEO, everybody is working by his order.
Right, right. But
Same manner.
it will not exist without him. But
Yes,
that's what the main meaning. Yeah.
yes. But it's clearly given, Krishna is clearly saying many times in different ways that everything is working under my direction. Everything, or any devata or anybody you can think of, they are my creation and they are working for me.
Sorry. Most seamless form of management, I would say.
So if there are no reflections or no thoughts or no questions, then we can probably stop early today. So we'll stop here today. Thank you so much for your association.
Yes.
And we will
Hare
meet
Krishna.
again next Saturday, next week.
Sunday.
I was going to say
Yes.
Saturday, but it is Saturday for us today in India, so I'll just say next week.
Okay.
Thank you so
Hare
much,
Krishna.
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare
Hare
Krishna.